All right, and welcome to Football After Hours. Another day, another division preview, joined by the entire crew: Scoop, Brandon, Shane, and Adam. We had to bring Adam in because we have to talk about the Steelers, but we're not going to do that right away. Since there is four of you guys, we're just going to go like one team at a time. One of you takes a team, and we just go through to make it quick, and then obviously we will all do X Factor players as well. Brandon, I'll actually have you start off with the Baltimore Ravens.
Oh, how did I know I was going to get them? I figured I would. I mean, just because the tie that the two best running backs in football have together, Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry. But yeah, Baltimore is interesting. Because for a while, Lamar Jackson has not been a good playoff performer. Let's just put that out there, plain and simple, especially for being an MVP, multiple-time MVP. But last year, we definitely saw signs that it's trending in a positive direction. We know his dual threat ability. We know that he'll put the team on his back when needed. We know that now he can lean on Derrick Henry, and Derrick Henry was right up there with Saquon, the two best running backs in football, like I said. Defensively, they had their moments last year. I mean, they didn't look like the greatest. It wasn't the greatest version of the Baltimore Ravens defense. But, overall, when it comes to just how they play, you expect them to be that 12, 13, 14 win team and to be a top 2 seed in the AFC.
But can they do more than that is the question.
That's where we're going to get to, because it all just depends on can Lamar bring his MVP regular season into the playoffs. Like even last year, it was a better, playoffs, for him overall, but that was a super low bar to clear. You need to see it, you need to see the guy that's showing you that everything he can do in the regular season, but he's not doing it in the playoffs. And honestly, it's not even just him. I mean, the receivers, he still doesn't have, his receivers have never been sure-handed. A lot of drops, a lot of crucial drops late in games. Sometimes I would even say that there's been coaching mistakes on Harbaugh's part. John Harbaugh. I mean, I like him as a coach, but he's starting to feel to me what Tomlin is to the Steelers. Like, this is what they are, and that's it type of deal. Where, you'll get that 12, 13, 14 win team, and they will probably win a playoff game and then get knocked out. That's kind of where the Ravens have been, over the last few years. But it's tough because you got to also realize the AFC is so stacked. But when you look at guys who have been at least there's only 3 guys. Lamar is considered part of the big 4, right? And this is Lamar heavy when talking about the Ravens, because there's that big 4 in football. There's Mahomes, there's Burrow, there's Allen, and it's Lamar. And all 3 of those guys have at least been to the championship game. Lamar Jackson has not been there yet. And it is really tough to every year say, hey, this guy's an MVP. This guy has Super Bowl aspirations. This team has Super Bowl aspirations. But their quarterback can't get them there. Josh Allen can get them there. He keeps getting beat by Mahomes. Burrow's been there. Burrow's been in the Super Bowl. But the one that hasn't is so far as Lamar. And that's why I can see how tough it is, because in the NFC, to me, the quarterbacks and things aren't stacked. But Baltimore is a really tough, they always seem like they're going to be a tough out as we go through the season. They always seem like they're going to be a team where, hey, we're gonna Shane's messing me up with man. You guys messed me up with the chat, but
no worries, sorry, my bad.
Nah, it's all good. But I just look at the Ravens, and we keep we think about the word potential for teams and how and where their where their floor is and where their ceiling is. They are a potential Super Bowl champion, but their floor is being a just a team good enough to win a wild card game. Like, so it's like a high aspirations on both sides, a high floor, and of course your ceiling is to be a Super Bowl champion. But it's really hard when you look at this roster and they kind of can't get out of their own way. I mean, they're not, there's too many times where, I mean, what was it? I mean, Zay Flowers has some crucial drops. They keep bringing in guys that, I mean, I'm trying to remember last year, one of the receivers that they did have who refused to come into the game. Off the top of my head, I can't remember his name. But, now you're finally giving Lamar Jackson a brand name receiver, D-Hop. But the problem is it's an old D-Hop. That's a big question mark. You don't know what you're going to get out of him, right? Zay Flowers still there. Rashad Bateman's still there. That's your 1, 2, and 3. Tight end, I mean, Mark Andrews declining. Charlie Kohler's nice. Isaiah Likely, it was that kind of nice, I guess, fill-in when Mark Andrews could not play or was not effective. But we know about their defense. They've got a couple guys that are still really good. I mean, obviously their secondary, especially Kyle Hamilton, Marlon Humphrey. They just got Jay Alexander. They still have Kyle Van Noy. They still have Roquan. So they still have a really good defense on paper. It's just when it comes down to the nitty gritty, they keep getting beat, and we keep saying every year, what's it going to take for them to get over the hump? Now, this year, I mean, the last 2 years, I think they've won 12 and 13 games. I don't see why that changes this year. I still think they're at least a 12-win team. But it's just the what if. It's like, okay, what if we don't get anything out of them in the playoffs once again? What if we get a dud showing from Lamar? What if we don't quite see the results at this? Because this team, there's just a little bit of a Super Bowl drop for them, for a team that looks this good on paper. It's crazy to believe that they haven't done anything in about 13 years. So, or not done anything, but they haven't won a Super Bowl in 13 years. Especially that's not their standard. Their standard is to be there. I just don't know. Now we've got to figure out, obviously what they're going to do at kicker. We haven't addressed that. I mean,
we have addressed that. We have.
Yeah,
it's our man Loop. We'll hope it's good. It's good for Tyler Loop.
We hope, but do we? We won't know until we really, see it. Justin Tucker fell off a cliff, and obviously with all the off the field stuff. But so that's another thing too. I think I've realized when it comes to how often the Ravens do rely on Justin Tucker to make, or how often they did rely on Justin Tucker to make big kicks in games. Because the Ravens are not a team. They can score 40, or they're going to score like 13 and win a gritty game. That just seems to be Ravens football, apparently. But it's just, I look at them and I see a ton of talent. Like if they were in the NFC, if they just switched over, that would be a team to me that'd be competing with Philly and pretty much what's left of Detroit, to go to Super Bowl, I would think. But when you're in the AFC and you have not kind of held up your end, going against the other big three, then it's kind of like, I guarantee you Ravens fans have to be saying, what's going on here? Like why is this, not panning out, I guess, because there's no reason why they shouldn't be even better than what they are. Now, Derrick Henry this year should have a good year. I mean, that, follow up what he did last year. He's unstoppable. Just hope he stays healthy, especially now that he's going to be, I think he's entering his 30s, is he not?
Is he was he like 34 guys, right?
No, he's like 31.
Yeah, he's 31
32.
now. So he's so we have to see if age is going to start hitting him. I don't think so, but you never know.
Sooner than later.
Yeah. So it's just a matter of the only question marks I see with this team right now is Lamar's playoff performance and success. Can the receivers finally catch a football? And what are you getting out of D-Hop at this stage of his career? Because defensively, it's all a bunch of veterans and even some younger guys who play like veterans. Their defense, to me, is fine. They can step up. They can do what they have to do. It's just on the offense to capitalize when your defense gives you opportunities, because it just feels like they have not done that in the playoffs. So that's really it. I think they're a 12, 13-win team like they've been. But I don't know if they can get past a team like the Bills or the Kansas City to be a AFC champion, let alone being a Super Bowl contender, being right at the dance. So we'll see, but I'm hoping that they're better than what they are. I want to see them climb that mountaintop finally. I just don't know if they will.
Who's your X factor for this team?
You could pick really. I mean, anybody. You could pick. You could pick anybody on that defense. You could pick like 10 guys on that defense if you want to. Honestly, you know what? I'm gonna say that it's gonna be a guy that they actually brought over. I'm gonna say it's Alexander. And just because you already add to a stacked, secondary room, but you can never have enough, coverage. Now, if he's healthy, that'll make that secondary, even better than what they already are. So it can never hurt. Because we know what he is when he is healthy, even though he hasn't been in quite some time. It's like, even in 7 games last year, he still had 2 interceptions. He had 7 pass breakups. He was still contributing, doing something. So if he's healthy, the sky's the limit. And I just think that when you add kind of a luxury, because that's a luxury, because they didn't really need to add much more to their secondary, honestly. But I think that when you add a luxury player, at least for this team in this scenario, it's going to make them a lot better. It's going to give them more chances to get the ball back for Lamar Jackson. It's going to give them more. This is if he's healthy, and it's going to give them just more chances to put teams away, I guess, late in games when they have to. So I think that, to me, he's my X factor, because you know what? You could pick Lamar, you could pick Derrick Henry, you could pick Kyle Van Noy, you could pick all the guys, Matt Abuke, you could, all those different guys, D-Hop, because he's here now. But I just think that, we saw last year, with Philly, defense wins championships, and you can never have enough defense, and you'll never know when guys like that will be forced to make a play. So to me, I think he's the X factor so far.
Yeah. Shane, who do you have for X factor for Baltimore?
I would say Flowers, because, like Brandon was saying, I mean, we know that this defense is solid, and obviously they're going to have a great running game between Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. And I think that might be part of the catalyst that can get them over the hump. They have, in Lamar's era, been to one AFC championship against Kansas City, but they only scored 10 points.
Yeah,
so
that's why I forget about it, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's I
think as a whole we forget about it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Because of all these, the big four, he's definitely the worst playoff performer. So, yeah, but I think it's gonna, obviously, between the him and Derrick Henry, you have a great running attack, which is obviously very key in January when you're in the playoffs. But it's just, is he going to be able to have something of a consistent receiving target? who's not going to drop the ball all the time, and just can Zay Flowers not lose them the game because of stupid penalties and other antics he's involved in, which lost them the AFC Championship that year. So, I think it's just kind of a combination of all that.
Yeah. Scoop, who are you taking?
Excuse me. So looking at them, and again, it was just alluded to about the comparisons to the Philly offense last year, and we know about the importance of the offensive line holding up for not only the health of Lamar Jackson, but the ability to keep Derrick Henry doing his thing on the ground. So I think there's a lot of belief in Tyler Linderbaum developing as a center, particularly on the running side of the game. But I think you start looking at a couple of the other guys on that line, and I don't mean necessarily Ronnie Stanley, but a couple of those other guys are, I think, people to watch, and I think going to have a significant influence in how they play. In how they play this year. One guy that I'll definitely name on that side of the ball is Voorhees, the left guard. I think he's going to have a potentially significant impact between Stanley and Linderbaum, and whether they can really shut down that side and really force them to force defensive lines to go after guys like Falale and Rosengarten.
Yeah, Adam, who are you taking for your rival Ravens as your X factor?
It doesn't matter. The Steelers are winning the North. No, that's tough. But honestly, maybe like, can we get Lamar an actual receiving threat? Maybe like DeAndre Hopkins. I think does he actually play? Like, we expect DeAndre Hopkins to play, or does he play like a 33-year-old wide receiver?
Mm-hmm.
For me, I'll go Andrews or Likely, whoever's going to start more at tight end, because that's a big issue. Someone's got to find their... Mark Andrews isn't the same player. Likely had his moments last year, but again, it was like, okay, which way are we going? As a whole, as we talked about, their receiving core has to show up this year for sure.
What's Baltimore's over-under?
What is their over-under? All right, let me look.
I like doing over-unders.
Let's see what they
see. That's what I realized about Baltimore. If there's one word I
looks like 14 and a half according to Fox Sports.
No way.
14 and a half according to Fox.
That's Fox.
BetMGM has them at 11 and a half.
Yeah. See.
Okay.
That's about right.
I'll take the over though.
Yeah,
I'd say
I probably take the over. Yeah. To slam the over.
14. Fox does have 14. Why does Fox have 14 and a half?
I told you. Y'all didn't believe me.
No. I believed you. I looked at it. I scrolled down, and I saw that they have him at 14 and a half. What the hell? But if it's 11,
talking
it's over,
betting
right?
odds. That's not Vegas. That's some exec at Fox being like, yeah.
It's got to be.
Over for 11 and a half. Yeah, we can do the betting odds. All right, Adam. Do the Steelers do more than losing a wild card this year?
Look, Aaron Rodgers is going to lead us 17-0. Steelers are going to the Super Bowl. The rest of the NFL has gone down. All right, Caleb Johnson rushing for 2,000 yards. All right, TJ Watt is getting 30 sacks. We're hoisting that Lombardi while eating Pimantis. Like that's what's happening. But no. I like a lot of the moves the Steelers made in this offseason, particularly on defense. I think with the Minka trade, look, corner's a more valuable position. I think Jalen is just a better DB than Minka. Mm-hmm. Having another receiving option with Jonnu, and I expect Jonnu Smith to play a lot in the slot. I feel like no one's talking about this. Jonnu Smith is going to play a lot of slot receiver. That's just going to happen. And then it's just gonna our defense looks so stacked. Derek Harmon, it's just preseason. He's looking great. Some things to clean up, of course. Cam Hayward can play anything close to how he played last year. Interior D-line. Keanu Benton's coming along.
He's got to get the contract, though. That's the thing with Hayward, because that contract
he's going to play regardless. Doesn't matter. I'm not fussed about that. He wants, like, whatever is left of the cap, they're just going to be like, all right, here's an extra $3 million. There you go. You really think Cam Hayward's going to sit out a season at 35 years old?
No way.
Yeah, so dude, Benton and Harmon, those two young guys on the inside, and then like you have TJ Watt, you have Alex Highsmith on the outside. Like this defense is looking insane. All right, Sean Elliott played great last year, and then with Ramsey, Slay, and Porter all like at corner DB, it's gonna be fun. And then there's the offense. Brother, if Aaron Rodgers can just be adequate,
Yeah.
we can win. We can make a run. Dude, it's like, can this O-line get a little bit of push in the run game? Caleb Johnson looked a lot better in his second preseason game. I knew it was going to take some time. He's got great vision. I love Caleb Johnson. People compare him to Najee, and those are just non-ball knowers. Extremely different runner from Najee. Extremely different runner. Caleb Johnson runs in his zone scheme. He's got such great vision. He's got really good patience. Najee was just run forward, hope there's a hole. And then when there is a hole, miss it and run to the back of your lineman. And now he's going to have even worse vision. He's missing an eye. Like, but yeah,
True.
it's just like, it really just comes down to, can this offense put up 25 points a game? It's not asking all that much. It's not. Like that's what that would put you at, what, like the 15th best offense, maybe.
Yeah.
That's all we need. And Aaron Rodgers looks, I mean, he's slinging it. I don't want to buy in. I don't. He's slinging it. He's looking good. DK, y'all, Seattle DK haters, bro. Just I'm glad Pickens is. I loved Pickens as a player, as a talent. Man, he could not keep his head in any game. Just costed us multiple times. A lot of drops last year too, which was very unlike how he had been in the previous years.
DK is no different.
Yeah, no, I understand. Like DK's got drop problems, but like at least
And just
no. That's I completely disagree. George Pickens crash out, DK Metcalf crash outs are two completely different things.
Oh, that's not even same.
They're not the
bro,
same ballpark.
Yeah.
Salty Seattle fans over here being like,
I'm not salty.
Problem.
I'm glad he's gone.
Yeah. Well, maybe change the venue. He also just got paid. I think a lot of that as well, because I don't think he's really had that much of a problem in the past few years. I think that might have just been that he wasn't getting the ball in a contract year, and that was probably a bit of why his temper was going up. I think we win 11 games. I've said this, placed a bet on it. I think 11 is where we stand, honestly. I think that's not far out of reach. We won 10 last year. I think this team's better. I think we have a better quarterback this year. I think we have a better running back, receiver.
Over under is 8.5.
I'm aware I slammed the over. Like it, yeah. Like 100 down on that or something. I have a problem.
The first step is admitting it, Ed.
First step is admitting it.
I was just gonna say that.
As for our X factor, I think I already said it. Aaron Rodgers, man, it's like, can he just, if he plays like he did at the end of the year last year, throughout his whole season, he's comfortable now on the Achilles. This O-line holds up, which I think they look way better already. Just can Aaron Rodgers play decent? And if the answer is yes, then we're going to win at least 11 games.
Scoop, who's your X factor for the Steelers?
Well, I wanted to say. Well, I mean, I was also going to say A-Rod, but I'm not going to now.
That's the
Just
cop out
because.
answer.
Well, it's
Besides,
also
took
just
it.
that I don't want to repeat what somebody already said. It's not so much the cop out. It's just I don't want to repeat what somebody already said because I think that's boring. Um, but I think that you know, I think there's an argument to be made that Patrick Queen I think could potentially be a pick there because I think there's a lot of people who TJ wants the guy of the defense, TJ wants the guy of the defense, and they've got a couple of other nice playmakers back there. I think that TJ Watt, gets so much of the attention. That I think people forget that there's other good playmakers back there. There's other good talents back there, and we saw what happened on other teams when those teams start to build their defenses out. Then it's that this is a team that still has Hayward. This is a team that's got and I still think that Ramsey's over there. They got our guy, Brandon. They got our guy, Big Play Slay over there now. He is no slouch. Even though we let him go, he is no slouch. I honestly I was tempted to go Big Play Slay. But just based on the fact that it kind of brings into question what will happen further back on the defense because they have so many of these guys up front now, I'll go Pat Queen on the linebackers line.
Nice, I like that. Shane, who are you taking?
I'm going to take Broderick Jones, the left tackle, and
I like that.
The reason for that is we know this defense is going to be great. They always are. And, this should be a top 5 defense in the NFL. Like, I know they lost Minka Fitzpatrick, but Jalen Ramsey is, I would say, an upgrade over Minka. And that's nothing against Minka. He's a great player, but Jalen Ramsey is a corner. And in this day and age, corner is more important than safety.
Mm-hmm.
So, defensively, I think they'll be great. And we saw Aaron the last, 8 or so games last year really play pretty well, all things considered. So just, I think, first of all, will we see him sort of continue on that trajectory, or is there going to be more another kind of slump for the first little bit as he's kind of figuring things out? But the most important thing, in order to get there, is just going to be the offensive line. And that's been O-line and quarterback have really been Pittsburgh's 2 biggest issues the last 4 or 5 years probably. And especially that blindside tackle, Broderick Jones, we'll see. I mean, you got to kind of cross your fingers. But I think if he has a big year and can be a solid tackle, it's going to make a huge difference as far as how comfortable Aaron Rodgers is and how effective the run game is going to be, with Warren and whatnot. So, I will say Broderick.
All right, Brandon, finish us off with X Factor for the Steelers.
It's funny, Scoop, how you mentioned that they have a former Eagle because they actually have 3 now.
Yeah,
but I find that funny how they have a good bit of us. But I think if I'm looking at an X factor for this team, I think the name I keep coming back to. I mean, and once again, this is another thing. Like at the Ravens, you can pick almost anybody because of how many guys they do have. But for me, I really am gonna pick Alex Highsmith just because when I think about it, I mean, he's only had double-digit sacks I think once in his career. He was hurt last year, but I think it was like he had 6 or 7 sacks in 9 games. So to me, it's the health factor. Just like I said with Alexander for the Ravens, it's they don't need another guy on that to come off the edge, to be like another solid I mean, because when you have outside linebackers, or edge guys, you're talking about, like the TJ Watts of the world, and obviously TJ is on that line. But to me, if you want, it just feels like in today's game, you need those two guys to crash off the edge to really to push and have a successful D line, because when you have just one guy kind of coming off the edge doing most of the work, it's kind of easy to just shift the line to that side and pull, have a guy pull and go over and chip him or whatever it is. So I kind of take that one guy out of the play. But so to me, if Highsmith stays healthy, not only are you going to get double-digit sacks out of him, but it's going to make that line almost unguardable. There's going to be no offensive line that can stop it. I mean, at least not many. But it's just that's so important to have that second guy to just fly around the line, because it's just two is more than one. Simple math. And when you have,
Can you argue with that?
Yeah, I know. Not my finest work, but I'm tired also. So, I was never a math student in school anyway. But I will.
I doubt any of us were.
Yeah, but I will. Well, Adam
is.
Brandon would copy my math homework.
Yeah, I did a few times, or quite a few times. But listen, and when it comes to football, I can do some decent math. It's just, to me, he's very important. You're going to have somebody that can match TJ Watt, step for step, and he's the guy coming off the edge at that outside linebacker position that can do that. So if he's healthy, it just adds another dimension to that line that they've kind of been missing with his injuries last year. So yeah, I mean, I think if they won 10 last year and they had a couple guys that weren't healthy, and they do have a better roster this year, I don't see why they couldn't win 11 games, or really, hell, even to a degree, make a push for this division. I know this division's tight, but I mean, I don't see why they couldn't do it.
I'm going to finish up with Pratt Freiermuth. We obviously want him to get the ball more, but him and Johnny is going to be a fun pairing, but we just want him to get the ball more, as we always do. But same with all these receivers. If Aaron Rodgers can get the ball, these guys, it's going to be a fun group. The hope is that it's a fun group. All right, Shane, you wanted the Bengals. You'll get the Bengals.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about them all offseason, it feels like, because Trey Hendrickson is finally on the block, and this team is a mess.
Yeah. And it all starts with ownership, or lack thereof.
Yep.
See, it's a bad sign when they are based in Cincinnati, Ohio, and they don't have an indoor practice facility.
Yikes.
But it's, Trey Hendrickson, obviously their top defensive player, incredible D lineman. I believe he was a sack leader in the NFL last year.
Yes.
So, why they are not paying this guy is absurd to me. I don't get it. I mean, they paid Jamar Chase way too late, granted, but
T. Higgins. So there you go.
And T. Higgins, which, that's great and all, but like, they're receivers. D lineman is way more important. If you're going to prioritize paying anybody, pay that guy, not the receivers. But anyways, so it looks like he's probably on his way out. And, this defense was probably bottom 5 in the league last year. And he was responsible for about, half of them not being number 32.
Mm-hmm.
So now without him, I mean, what do you have? Logan Wilson and what? Cam Taylor-Britt?
Yeah.
or Geno Stone. Like that's what you're putting all your money in. Like, wow.
Oh my God! This defense without
There's
Henderson
no defense. There's no one there.
There's nobody.
It's awful. This is a. I'm looking at the depth chart right now. This is sad. Yeah, Logan Wilson is legitimately their best defensive player, and
I
he's
guess
just like
Shamar Stored,
and he's just an okay linebacker. So but on the offense, it doesn't get any better because you got Joe Burrow, who's amazing, and Jamar Chase, who's amazing, and whatever. Chase Brown, he's great running back, but there's no offensive line. Bottom 5 defense, bottom 5 offensive line. It really doesn't matter how good your skill guys are. If you don't have the big guys up front, you're not going to get anywhere. So it's frustrating because when you have a generational talent like Burrow, you want to make the most of it, and they just are not. They're totally ruining any chance they have with him. So, yeah, I think this team probably wins. What's their over-under?
Let me ask the table here. What do you think their over-under is?
8.5.
I was going to say 8.5, probably.
That sounds about right.
I'd go a little bit lower. I'm gonna say 6.5.
9.5.
Ah, damn.
Oh, I went the wrong way.
I think they win probably 7.
This kind of reminds me of the Colts Andrew Luck team a little bit, where they had just the quarterback and nothing else.
And nothing else. Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
This team is rough.
Love to see it.
Yeah, I think they probably win 7.
Adam, of course, love to see it. Yeah, I'm sorry I interrupted you, Shane, but Shamar Stewart is probably their best defensive player, and he's just a rookie, I guess. Another guy.
Well, and that was like a whole other thing too, where he almost
They didn't pay him. Yeah.
Yeah.
You draft him, you don't pay him.
I don't think you should get that first round contract.
Well, not only that, there was a bunch of stipulations that he hated and crap. But yeah.
So I don't know. A lot of people are saying, well, Burrow's this is his first healthy camp that he's had in years, and they're going to start out hot and whatever. And it's like, I don't know.
It doesn't matter if your defense is this bad.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to. Sure, they might score a lot of touchdowns, but they're going to have a hard time keeping him upright. And they're not going to be able to stop a nosebleed on defense. So, I mean, I don't know. It's
definitely worse than last year, because last year felt like that. But this year, I think it's much worse.
And big reason for that, Trey Hendrickson. If you're moving on from him, well, I'm sorry. You can find several good receivers in any given draft. A defensive end talent like Trey Hendrickson does not come by very often.
Mm-hmm.
If you got a guy like that, you got to keep him. You got to find a way. Now, I'm not saying they should move on from Jamar Chase, but you can find another T. Higgins in the draft this year.
That was literally going to be my next question.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's just me. I don't hate wide receivers. I'm just saying you got to know. You got to prioritize certain positions. Defensive line is one of them. So I rest my case.
X Factor. Are we all taking offensive players here?
No. I'll go. I'll go Shamar Stewart just because, I mean, he's going to have to, you're going to have to give that guy a back brace for carrying this D-line on his, on his shoulders. So, yeah, I mean, hopefully he is good and can generate some kind of a pass rush for them. But, yeah, we'll see.
Brandon, who do you have?
Well, if Trey Hendrickson's not there, I'm going to go with the last domino to fall on their defense that's really any good, and that's Logan Wilson. Because, my God, if Hendrickson's not there, and if we don't, I mean, it depends. We got to see what we get out of Stewart. But Logan Wilson is the guy on that defense right now, as things currently stand with the uncertainty, with Hendrickson. So, Logan Wilson is going to have to move like the sun, moon, earth, and stars to keep that defense in order. And I don't see how that's gonna happen. But if Trey Hendrickson last year, right? I mean, there were games he literally won them games by himself. There was at least 2 or 3 games where I was watching. He won the damn game by himself, and I mean, and there was a couple big games that Logan Wilson had where it was okay, a couple big plays he made that contributed to them, squeaking out a win. But so if they're gonna have any chance of winning anything, and having any kind of positives on that defense at this point, it's gonna come from Logan Wilson. So to me, I mean, I don't think I've taken an offensive guy yet, but I mean, all these teams, they have guys that are superstars that need to kind of show up big this year for various reasons. And Logan Wilson, without Trey Hendrickson, it's going to be all on him. So that's my X factor.
Adam, who are you taking?
I did some thinking, and I think I'm going to have to go with Dr. Mark Galloway, who is the team's head physician. Because
yes,
Joe Burrow,
damn it, that's what I was going
to die, and we'll see what concoction Russ can come up with.
You can both take it because no one's taking a physician. Oh my God! All right,
right in the same wavelength.
Same wavelength. Scoop.
All right, Scoop. Continue on the physician then.
Well, since that was just covered, I'll give you the other name that was in my mind. And I kind of wavered between, in terms of players, I kind of wavered between 2, both on the offensive line. One was their longtime center, Ted Karras, and then the other one was their veteran, their veteran left tackle, Orlando. Now all of a sudden I got something caught in my throat. Their veteran left tackle, Orlando Brown. And because, when looking at this team's offensive line, they got Amarius Mims at the right tackle. They got a journeyman guard. They got a rookie guard. And then, they've got Karras at the center, and they got Orlando Brown at left tackle. And Orlando Brown is coming off of a really crappy season. So, and, we all have seen the importance of, it's just kind of fundamental and it gets overlooked, center to quarterback and, playing right up the middle there, especially for some of these teams that have strong, 3-4 or strong 4-3 up the middle defenses. What are they going to do? They're going to target right down your throat. And, they don't give a damn that, Joe Burrow is working on, his 5th version of his leg. So, I'm going to probably go with either one of them, but I'm going to go with Ted Karras just because the way that some of these defenses are built, I can really see them just charging right up the middle, and Joe Burrow, again, like you said, quite literally, perhaps at times fighting for his life.
I'm going to go fantasy side because that's pretty much all you're going to care about for this offense, and I'll take Chase Brown because he was incredible last year. He's great passing the ball too, or he's great catching the ball out of the backfield, I should say. But yeah, this whole offense just feels like a fantasy team, and that's what everyone will focus on because
they have to build a team in Madden.
Yeah, This is very much how you build a team in Madden, and not in real life. All right, I'm sorry, Scoop. I'll give you the Lions too, but I'm sorry that you are stuck with the Cleveland Browns. Do you want to guess their over/under before we start?
2.5.
Adam, do you want to guess what it is?
Trying to see if I can remember. How many games did they win last year?
How many did the Browns win last year? They won 3?
Yeah, I think it was pretty low.
It was 3. It was 3.
I think it's 4.5.
That sounds right.
It is 4.5.
Yeah,
they went 3-11.
The addiction coming in clutch.
Scoop, this is under for sure for you. Are you? Do you think they get 5 wins?
The reason why I'm hesitant there is because we saw a couple of years ago Joe Flacco pull together some really impressive wins on this team at the end of the season. So and they do have a little bit of juice there at tight end. They do have they still got Myles Garrett. I think sometimes Myles Garrett can win a game himself. And so I'm going to take the under, but I don't think it's as obvious of an under as it may seem right away. But as you were talking about, this team is just unfortunately far too familiar for Cleveland disarray. They've got, I think they kind of took the mentality that, you put enough quarterbacks in that room, one of them is bound to emerge. I think that, do you want me to go right into my X factor or
you can do whatever you want. If you want to go straight in, you can.
Okay. I'm going to go into my X factor because, we've talked, and Brandon's not going to be surprised by this, I don't think. But everyone's talking about how Joe Flacco is going to be the go-ahead week 1 starter. We all expect that. Kenny Pickett's hurt right now. Shedeur Sanders has hurt himself a few days ago, and it might be the least damaging thing he did to himself this offseason. I know Joe Flacco's going to go in there and start, but let's not forget they got another young quarterback this draft that they took before Shedeur Sanders. They took Dylan Gabriel. He has taken more first-team snaps this summer than anybody but Joe Flacco. Part of that is due to Kenny Pickett, but again, circumstances are circumstances. Reality is reality. They took and what also was Dylan Gabriel. He was the antithesis of the scouting report of Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders' biggest question was his character and his temperament. Dylan Gabriel's biggest calling card, his temperament and his character. We know that quarterback is the one position in the NFL where your character can be the reason you're on a roster or be the reason you're off the roster. I think that Dylan Gabriel, especially if Joe Flacco comes out cold, there are some brutal scheduling for the Browns. How the Browns continue to get screwed on scheduling when other teams who are a lot better are getting easier schedules is beyond me. But I think if you see Flacco come out cold out of the gate, I think there's a real chance you see Dylan Gabriel dictate the flow of this season from mid-season on.
This quarterback room, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, as you mentioned, Shedeur, and Scoop Huntley. They don't know what they're doing at quarterback. This is a mess. But yeah, I think.
Have they known what they were doing at quarterback since Bernie Kosar?
No.
I mean, they had a guy for a minute.
They had a good quarterback for a couple years, and they needed an adult in the room. So yeah, let's go get the guy who's got 38 suits against him and fully guaranteed.
Yeah, fully guaranteed for Deshaun Watson there, but yeah, what a mess.
I think it was Deshaun Watson actually who DDoSed him. So
yeah,
I can't take this slander.
Adam, who do you have for the Browns as your X factor?
It's so hard. They suck.
Yeah, they're not good.
Dude, I don't know. I'm drawing a blank. His next factor is will this person will deem whether we're successful or not.
I'm looking. Yeah,
they have too many holes to have an X factor.
Okay, can I go while you're looking at that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let me
Please
let me
go.
check their depth chart.
Because I'm looking at it right now. This roster, it's really not horrible. Like, Myles Garrett, amazing defensive lineman, obviously. And, you got, like, Ward, who's a good corner. Jeremiah Wosu, I can never pronounce the rest of his last name.
Usu Koromoa.
Koromora, yeah.
Komara, yeah.
Newsome, I mean, they've got guys. Mason Graham, he'll probably be good. And the offensive line is not terrible. I mean, it's probably it's not like a top 10 offensive line, but they're probably, top 14, 15. The question or the issue is just quarterback, mostly. And I really like Kevin Stefanski personally. I think he's the sort of the scapegoat of a terrible ownership group. But yeah, it's just, are they going to be able to, between their quarterbacks, running backs, and receivers, are they going to be able to produce anything? And I don't know. So I'm going to take Jerome Ford because
It's a good pick.
because regardless of what happens at quarterback, if you can at least have a consistent run game, that will help a lot. So, because the best defense is a good running game. You can control the clock that way. Just get a few yards at a time, stack it up, and and with that offensive line, they should be able to do that more or less. But yeah, it's just the skill guys on offense that concern me, to put it mildly. But I'll take Jerome Ford there. And
All right.
over under 4.5. I'm taking the over.
You're taking 5 wins. Are you taking 5 or 6?
Come back to me.
Come back to me. Oh my God, man.
5. I'll go 5.
Okay, Adam, X Factor. Did you take a second?
Yeah,
to
I
figure it
did.
out?
Looking at it, I think Mason Graham's a good pick for it. Myles Garrett has been the only guy on the defensive line for years now, and I think if he can take some pressure, if Mason Graham can be good enough to take some pressure off of him or to make plays on his own while everyone's trying to block Myles Garrett, that could be huge for the defense. They have a solid duo. They have a better than solid duo at corner with Ward and Newsome. I mean, there's some top guys. So if you can get to the quarterback a bit quicker and make their lives easier, this Browns defense can definitely take a step up.
Brandon.
Great minds think alike, Ed, because I was going to pick Mason Graham if you didn't. But okay, well, since he's out, I don't want to repeat either. But you know what? This is the first time, and I can't believe I'm even saying this, but I will go offense. This is the first time I'm going offense tonight, and to me, I think it's going to have to be. I'm not going to even take a running back. So I was thinking about Jerome Ford too, but I'll say I'm going to go with the guy that's number 1 on their depth chart at this position. I'm going to say David Njoku, because the guy has a ton of talent. He is, built like a physical specimen, but the problem is he is never healthy. And a lot of the times, too, when he's in games, he does disrupt the game. He does provide a nice big target for the quarterback to find. And I think, there's games where the first quarter he'll score a touchdown. I think it even happened last year. He scored a touchdown the first quarter. Offense was looking good. He got hurt on a play. He got flipped up in the air, whatever it was, landed hard, taken out of the game. Offense completely died after that point. So it's happened a lot when he comes out of games where they do look, at least halfway decent, like they know what they're doing. I mean, because he does get a lot of their targets. I mean, especially the last 2 years, even when he was hurt last year. So, and he's a big part. Like, he's a guy that I had in fantasy 2 years ago. He did really well for me. But just on the field, he's got, I mean, he's getting a little bit older. He's getting to, and maybe it's my bias because he's a Jersey guy. But it's just, I love what he can be. It's just I want to see him stay healthy, because if he's healthy, then see his health to me, because their defense for some reason is, no matter who's on that defense, they can always end up being a top 10 type, because Cleveland just has a good defense. They usually do. So if Njoku's healthy, or at least healthy enough, then I would say the over. I would say 5 wins, but I don't think he will be. So I don't think they win 3. I think they'll win probably 4. So I'm still going to say the under, but I want to see Njoku have a healthy, successful season, because the offense needs it, because you can't just be throwing the ball to Jerry Jeudy. I mean, he had a great year last year, but Jerry Jeudy and a bunch of just, and then Jerome Ford out of the backfield, more kind of, I mean, he's okay. He's not great. So, what do you really have on that offense besides, for Joe Flacco to throw to besides Jerry Jeudy? It has to be Njoku. So, I mean, a lot of times when it comes to tight ends, and this is, we all know this, they're the safety valve of an offense. So anytime you get in trouble, you dump it down to them, they can pick up yards. You need a big first down, and all the receivers are covered. Usually have tight ends open somewhere in the middle of the field. So, I mean, and we know the guy's, like I said before, the guy's a physical specimen. Look at him. The guy's massive. So it's just a matter of staying healthy. So he's my X factor.
Oh, this is tough. I guess I'll go Denzel Ward. He's still a great player for them in that secondary. They're going to need that secondary to do well, to do anything. But yeah, I'll go under. I'll go 3 wins again. It just matters who's going to start for them at quarterback. Yeah, Dylan Gabriel's probably their best option, but who knows? This is a mess that they put themselves in, and it sucks.
I'm not sold yet on Shador. I know he had a good game. And
a good preseason game doesn't determine anything. It's preseason.
I'm still not sold yet.
Kenny Pickett had plenty of good preseason games.
I'm not sold on Gabriel either, though.
I'm not sold on any of them.
I don't really like either of them as NFL quarterbacks.
No, I mean, I can't see it.
So Joe will leave Flacco, Shane.
Well, yeah, because Joe Flacco is the greatest quarterback of all time, obviously, but not. No, but yeah, I mean, it's just, I think I see. I mean, Shador definitely has more of the physical tools, the intangibles, and just kind of the feel for the game than Dylan Gabriel. However, Shador he's kind of in his own world. He's his attitude is definitely a problem. And like Scoop was saying, you can't have that as a quarterback. You got to be very, face of the franchise.
If I can jump in, saying you have better physical tools than Dylan Gabriel is like not saying much.
No.
No.
Yeah, no. So,
because Shador doesn't even have great physical tools.
Yeah, no.
Better than Dylan Gabriel's, but below average in most metrics.
Yeah, no. The guys from Hawaii, I think, need to stick to like defensive line instead of quarterback. So when they play quarterback, it doesn't work out too well.
Not wrong.
Gabriel's like getting on the D-line at 5'11".
Yeah. No, I know. Play
Safety,
baseball
maybe?
or something instead.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yep.
This just has Jimmy Haslam being
dumb owner.
Yeah, written all over it.
All right, since Scoop is handling stuff on his computer, Adam, do you want to get us started with the Lions?
I wasn't prepared.
It's fine. It's fine.
Hold on, I got it. He's
Oh,
back.
Oh wait, no, Scoop's here. Scoop's here.
I've
You're
been
saved.
Saved by the bell.
We can hear you.
No, I'm saying, have you not been able to hear me? I've been here for like 5 minutes.
No, you
Oh.
just popped up there.
We haven't even
Just
seen
popped
you.
up. You just popped up now.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, you are. Adam is saved. All right. Scoop, tell us about the Lions. What are your thoughts on Detroit?
Okay. Excuse me. So y'all know I've been big time on Detroit. I mean, we did that quarterback draft thing a couple of months ago, and I took Goff very highly. And I'm big time on Campbell. I'm all the way up in the up in the organization to guys like Holmes, to guys like John Dorsey and their front office. I think that they're going to be. Not just this year, I think they're going to continue to be a force in the NFC. Right up there in the conversation with Philadelphia. Maybe in a conversation Washington's going to start entering. I look at them in terms of in terms of the conversation regarding X factor. So I don't know why the word was not coming to me for a second. It's gonna be almost impossible to jump back and be up at 15-2 or really even close to that. I think that's fairly obvious for a lot of reasons. Excuse me. And part of me wants to go the non-player route and say that the coordinator, that the new coordinators are going to be the X factors, because losing both your coordinators is obviously no easy thing to master and no easy thing to overcome. So part of me wants to go that route, but excuse me. What I'll go with instead is I'm going to go with. This is tough. I'm going to probably go with Amon-Ra St. Brown. And for me, that's less of a not believing in his talent and more believing in how much of reliability is it he's going to stay on the field. Because again, best ability is availability. I love Amon-Ra St. Brown, but how much of him are we really going to be able to see throughout the season? And how many. Because when he goes, 1v1 up against the CB1 or even a CB2, there's some hard hitters, especially in that NFC North. How many big matchups are they going to be comfortable putting him in and putting the ball in his hands when we all know that he's, one, misplanted foot away from, 16 to 18 weeks. So.
Yeah. Brandon, what do you have for X Factor for Detroit?
I mean, they're once again, it's just they're a roster that you can pick anybody, but I feel like when it comes to Detroit, they've got the same issue for me that the Bengals do. Not as bad, but they do. I mean, their defense is just non-existent. They can score 40, but they'll give up 40, and. Now, they do have some good guys on that defense. I mean, Alex Anzalone is one of them. I love the way he plays. But to me, you know what? I will go. I was going to go. You could say both coordinators, but I don't think the offense is going to have a problem. I mean, they're largely unchanged on offense. So, I mean, they're fine to me, even with a new offensive coordinator. Well, I mean, he was the pass game coordinator. I mean, they did throw. I mean, hey, when they threw the ball last year, it works. I mean, I don't think much is going to change offensively for the Lions, but
that's fair.
But to have a young guy who's barely into his late 30s, Kelvin Shepard, as their defensive coordinator, I mean, Aaron Glenn did what he could with an injured defense, but even when they got back to full strength, it still was. I mean, it was better, but it still wasn't pretty. And I mean, the way they ended their season, I mean, a lot of that was on Jared Goff's performance against the Commanders, but the Commanders still made them look silly. So it's to me, if they really want to accomplish, if they really want to get to where they got to go, they've got to get tougher on defense, especially when you consider that you're one good defense away from competing with Philly for the right to go to the Super Bowl, because Washington themselves does not have a good defense. We talked about this before a couple weeks ago. So and they didn't really change anything. So but the Lions, they're like that. It's those big three in the NFC. Those are the big three, at least to me. And if they're gonna go anywhere, like, you can't drop 40 and give up 40. So that defense is going to have to make some plays this year, and I think that it's all just going to start with what scheme, what Kelvin Shepard's going to bring to that team. I mean, he's a former linebacker, but he's only ever been a linebacker coach. It's not like he's been like an assistant defensive coordinator or something. So it's like he's going straight from being a linebacker coach straight to being the DC. So I mean, that's a pretty decent step up. So we'll see how that translates. But as far as I know, I mean, I think he's got to be the X factor. I mean, he's a younger guy, so the inexperience might show, and they can't afford that with how talented of a roster that they do have, especially offensively, and what Dan Campbell preaches, in his practices and in off season and things like that. So they're going to need to have a tough, thick-skinned defense if they're going to get to where they got to go, and that starts with the defensive coordinator.
Shane, who do you have for Lions X Factor?
I think defensively, as long as they're healthy, they should be okay. I really like a lot of their pieces. I think their secondary is pretty solid. Aiden Hutchinson's obviously one of the best pass rushers in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Anzalone, Jack Campbell, I think, is a pretty underrated linebacker. So there's a lot of guys. But the thing, and obviously the two new coordinators, that will be, regardless of how good they may or may not be, it's still going to be an adjustment, a learning curve. But the biggest issue, I think, with this team that nobody seems to be talking about is the offensive line. This has been probably top 3 offensive line in the NFL for the last, 5 years. And this offseason kind of unexpectedly lost their center, Frank Ragnow. He retired. He's not dead, don't worry. I kind of realized that. I know, but I realized that I was like, they lost him, So, anyway, I mean, you have, long story short, my X Factor player is Penei Sewell, the right tackle, but because you have him, and he's amazing, obviously, and then you have Taylor Decker, who is good, but I feel like a little, not past his prime maybe, but like good but not great, I guess. And then you have like the ghost of what's his name, the right guard, Glasgow.
Yeah.
And then so you really only have like 2 solid guys on the line, and then they're your 2 tackles, but the inside of the offensive line is rough. So, I just think, and it concerns me because Jared Goff is not a very mobile quarterback. So, and Jahmyr Gibbs, their main running back, or the better of their 2 running backs, is not, like a pound the rock bruiser up the middle kind of guy. So they're really going to have to get more creative with what they do with him. I just think it could lead to this offense especially with the departure of Ben Johnson, not being nearly as dominant as they have been in recent years. I mean, they won 15 last year. They're definitely not going to win that many this year. Just between losing the two coordinators, the downgraded offensive line. I think they probably win 12, if I had to guess.
They're at 10.5.
Ooh.
Yeah, I was going to say like 11 or 12 probably would be my guess. I think they, if the coordinators do well and they stay mostly healthy, they probably get to the NFC Championship. But if not, if those things don't all happen, I mean, we'll see. I don't know. But I think the biggest thing I'll be watching for is how does the offensive line hold up without Frank Ragnow. So, yeah.
How do you guys rate the offensive lines? We got a chat here about, Lions, probably middle of the pack. Vikings have the best line in the North?
Yeah, or Packers?
The Bears line's looking nice now, to be honest.
Yeah.
They really upgraded it.
When you think about what the
They
Bears
had solid
did,
tackles, now they fixed the interior.
yeah,
I still don't love the Bears tackles.
They're
But
good enough. They're upgraded.
But their middle
for
three
sure.
are solid.
yeah.
Yeah.
See, they have the reverse Lions problem. Lions up the middle
Yeah.
are terrible, but solid at the tackles.
And then
Bears
the Vikings, to me, are good at tackle and center. And then the Packers are just like, they're like a B at all five positions. They don't really have any guy at any one of the five that's like amazing, but none that's really like terrible either,
Yeah. Adam, who's your X factor for Detroit?
So I actually wanted to start by asking you a question, Rob. Did we
Yes.
have an over-under on Brandon mentioning the Eagles? Because we've talked about 5 teams so far, and I'm pretty sure he's brought up the Eagles every time he's spoken.
No,
Every time.
I'm
Pretty sure every time.
I mean,
Okay,
am I wrong that the NFC runs through Philly? Am I
mean,
wrong?
it is true.
We were talking about
Okay.
the AFC North.
No, because I can draw comparisons. Scoop brought up the Eagles first.
Wait, can we at some point during the year do like an over under of how many times Brandon and Scoop
Oh
combined
yeah,
mention
yeah.
the Eagles?
Well,
We can figure it
I
out.
got to be honest here. I tried to mention them once when y'all couldn't hear me.
Oh, my bad there.
Okay, let's see. Wait, I mentioned them. I mentioned them with Baltimore. I mentioned them with the Steelers. I don't think I mentioned them with the Browns. Bengals. I don't think so either.
I mentioned them with Cleveland, but I'm struggling to
tape, watch
remember
the
why
tape.
at this point.
Yeah.
Run back the
Lions
tape.
did. Oh my god! I mean, I mentioned them with the Lions. All right, so here's the thing. I won't do it the rest of the way through. How about that?
Okay.
Yeah, you will.
I have a cap.
I make no such promises whatsoever.
Cap.
All right, Adam. Lions.
Okay, yeah, well, I'll keep this quick. Aiden Hutchinson, because he was a beast last year until he went down with injury. Can he come back and play like he was before then?
Yeah.
So that's going to be huge for them. All right.
Yeah, for sure. Philly, always tough in the NFC for sure. Okay. You want to avoid saying Philly now too, to be honest, so that we don't say that much. But for me, I'm gonna go with Sonic and Knuckles. Of course, can take the running backs. I think they're gonna change. I think they're gonna change their name this year. I don't remember.
No, I can't do that.
No, I like that.
I think they might want to change it to some other movie. All right, Shane, get us started with the Vikings.
Yeah. It's funny. The Vikings are the one team in the NFL where I have no idea. This could go, in my opinion, several different directions. They won 14 games last year, but I thought they were kind of frauds. which I think a lot of us did, at least in this show. And of course, we were correct, but that's neither here nor there.
Are you ready for their win total?
What is it?
8.5. Over under.
Slam the over. Yeah, well.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the thing though.
That seems so free.
Let me start. Let me start with what I like. Okay. First of all, I love that they have built a lot through the trenches in recent years. But because as I've talked about throughout the evening, that's very important, obviously. But also, I think having a good mix of solid skill guys thrown in there, like Justin Jefferson, and and then guys on the back end like Byron Murphy, Harrison Smith, who's ancient, but he's still really good. And they have, I think they have all the pieces. I mean, I think they could be maybe a little deeper at linebacker. I like Cashman, but I mean, other than that, it's kind of like, But otherwise, I mean, they have really quite a bit of depth everywhere. They don't have a ton of star players that are flash in the pan kind of guys, but just a lot of really solid, B+, A- guys. My issue is this. Their quarterback is this guy named J.J. McCarthy, who is...
Oh, and by the way, we're not saying that they're going to get close to the Super Bowl with JJ. Definitely not in his rookie year. But go ahead,
No.
Shane.
And this is... Well, he was drafted last year, but this is kind of by default his rookie year. And because obviously last year he had that weird leg injury, and we all saw him on the sideline during the Vikings-Rams playoff game, and he was very skinny. I mean, the dude probably lost 30 pounds. Like, he was very thin. I didn't even recognize him. I was like, holy crap, that's JJ. And that was in mid-January. So during this offseason, he not only had to gain that weight back, but he also had to rehab his injury and have multiple surgeries, recover from that. And then once he did all of that, which probably took several months, then start working on football fundamentals and starting from zero. And, so he's, even if he is at full strength this season, it's going to take a while for him to fully get there. And, the other problem is all we've ever seen of him is being the quarterback at Michigan, University of Michigan, that is, where all he did was just hand the ball off to the running back. Like, we rarely saw him actually throw. And the issue there is Minnesota, their head coach, Kevin O'Connell, loves passing. Loves it. To a fault, I would say. And so I think JJ McCarthy is not a good fit for Kevin O'Connell in the slightest. I do not think that's going to go great. I think part of the reason why it worked so well with Sam Darnold last year is because Sam Darnold is a gunslinger and he likes to throw it deep and all this stuff that Kevin O'Connell wants to do. And that's why, in my mind, that's why I consider them, frauds, because they have all these talented guys like Justin Jefferson, at receiver, but it kind of feels like he's just a Ferrari in the garage. It's like, yeah, he's great, but what is it that can you back it up by winning when it matters? And, Kevin O'Connell is 0-2 in the playoffs, and both games called horrible games. Everybody talks about him like he's, the second coming of Bill Walsh or something. Or not Bill Walsh. What's the Bill Belichick? Sorry. Or just, any like coaching legend, whatever.
I honestly thought Bill Walsh made more sense.
Okay, we'll go with that. But in my mind, he's not really a whole lot better than like Mike McDaniels. They're both 0-2 in the playoffs or whatever, and they just they both like to pass a lot. And anyways, so yeah, I think essentially, I feel like they'll be able to win a decent amount of regular season games, just between guys like Aaron Jones, who will be able to do well. But I think when it matters most, can JJ McCarthy, and he's my X Factor player, can he, step up to the occasion and put the team on his back? Because we have yet to see him do that. So, it's just kind of will he be able to do that, basically? And I don't know.
Adam, why are you saying the over for Minnesota, and who's your X Factor?
I just 8.5.
Yeah.
Come on, like that just seems so low for that. I like they should win at least 9 games. I'm not saying they're gonna repeat and do 14, but like I think JJ McCarthy's good enough. I mean, we'll see, right? But like, got a feeling. I don't know. It's just such a good offense. Also, I have a bet for JJ McCarthy comeback player of the year.
I was gonna say, I was gonna put you on the spot because I remember you telling me after when he came out of the draft last year that he was like your favorite.
He was my favorite for offensive rookie of the year. Yeah, and then he got hurt.
Yeah,
like avoided.
Save
so
money.
We're running it back. We're running it back. For my X Factor player,
it's hard to pick anyone other than JJ. Really,
I know he's just such the obvious pick, but I can't pick that. Obviously, I'm just going through.
I mean, you can. It's fine.
We can all take JJ. We can all take
JJ. Honestly,
yeah.
Scoop, are you taking JJ too? Or are you taking someone else?
I've been trying to be different for each one, but I mean, it's just
JJ McCarthy. Then, yeah,
there's no other quarterback that I can think of where the season for the team could go 2-15 or 15-2, and neither would surprise me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Brandon, do you have anything else to add on Minnesota?
No, I mean, I wasn't.
Well, they're not the Eagles, but
well, yeah. Well, like I said, I made it a point not to bring it up the rest of this show, but what's the one thing that Minnesota like? Here's why they did that over-under is a little bit like it's kind of right in that middle, is because Minnesota loves their one-score games, no matter who the quarterback is. Like they never seem to win more than like if you take like at least like even a small sample size of the games, like if you can take like 4 games out of the season, at least 3 of them are going to be one-score games. They just have an affinity with playing these tight contested games against. Doesn't matter what team it is; it could be anybody. And that's with veteran quarterbacks, whether that's Kirk Cousins or last year with Darnold. I'm just wondering how JJ is going to handle being in close games. I mean, so that's what's tough to me is the NFL is much different than college, and you really got to prove you can pull those kinds of games out. But Minnesota, it really does feel like Scoop is saying, it doesn't feel like it's either 2-15 or 15-2. It's like it really does all depend on JJ's play, like we're saying, and I don't know what we're gonna get. But you know what's funny? If I had a secondary X factor, if it's not JJ, I'm actually gonna pick TJ Hawkinson because once again,
I thought you were picking somebody on the secondary.
No, I could. They did have a good defense last year. But he's another one. He's a tight end with so much promise. He's never healthy, and especially young quarterbacks. Like I was saying, I was mentioning the safety valve thing with Njoku before. But young quarterbacks need that safety valve. They need somebody they can trust to just dump the ball off to. Whether it's a running back or a tight end. And I feel like Hawkinson, he opens up that offense. I mean, he did it for Detroit up until he got hurt, and then when he's been healthy in Minnesota, he's really helped out. He's made that offense more than just one dimensional. Just hey, throw the ball up to Justin Jefferson and see what happens. So I still think it's JJ, but if there's a secondary X factor, it's going to be to me TJ Hawkinson.
I'll go with the man Brandon hated it all last year in Jordan Addison. I know he's suspended the first few games of the season, but we need to see some consistency.
Yeah, I got the most bipolar fantasy player I've ever seen in my entire life.
I do also worry about I do worry about their pass defense a little bit because they were pretty awful last year in that department because of Brian Flores' 4-4 scheme.
Yeah.
Which everybody loves and says is amazing, and I'm like,
Well, it's a blitz. It's a blitz first scheme, which is like kind of hit or miss.
Yeah. Well, and there's a lot of kind of like 4-4 packages, which is, hold on.
Yeah.
I'm getting out the whiteboard.
Yay!
Oh
boy.
So, because, right, so the 4-4, so you, on defense, normally, right, you have...
we can't see that, right?
I know, just hold on.
He's
Okay,
setting it up.
sure.
He's
Patient.
setting it up.
So, these are your 11 guys, right? And then, this board is too big. So, this box here, these are your D linemen, obviously, So this box right here, of course, your front seven. And so with a 4-4 defense, strong safety will come up into the box.
Mm-hmm.
And so then you get 8 guys up here, which is great for the run defense, because then if, you have a running back going up the middle, then ignore the terrible writing. You got 8 dudes right there who are going to stop him. But then if you're going to pass, 1, 2, 3 guys that are out deep in coverage, you're screwed.
Yep.
So, that concludes my X's and O's session.
See, you know what's funny? You know what's funny defensively though? It's like, it's like that's what's weird is that they weren't good, but like they seemed like it because their takeaways were so timely.
Yeah,
Last
they definitely
year.
were.
Yeah.
Last year.
Like,
But can that repeat this year? I mean,
like like that, that's why in my mind I was like, oh yeah, wait a minute, they had a good defense. I'm like, oh wait a minute, they really didn't. And I was like, well, they had a lot of takeaways, but that's literally mostly because they had Cam Bynum, who's no longer there, and now they have to rely on Byron Murphy. So, I don't know how that's going to work, but like their secondary doesn't look bad on paper though when you think about it. It's just, but
Well, and that's why they are so successful on defense against teams like San Francisco, who have a shitty offensive line other than Trent Williams, and so they're able to just blitz the hell out of Purdy, and he can't do anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so then they can't run a lot either because they just get stuffed at the line. So
yeah.
Anyways.
All right, Adam, do you want to get us started with the Packers?
Can I say one more thing about Minnesota real quick?
Please go.
Yeah, because I'm trying to remember in the order that we went. Who was the very first one who was saying they don't believe in McCarthy at all? And yada, yada, yada. I think that was Shane, right?
Shane, yeah.
Yeah.
Just because I mentioned that McCarthy was my X factor, but I do want to say I'm actually very much in a disagreement on that. When there were two guys last year who, when they were drafted quarterback wise, they were fits that I really liked team to quarterback. The first one that I said I liked was Bo Nix to the Broncos. The other one I said I liked was JJ McCarthy to the Vikings. I think that Kevin McConnell, I do really like him as a coach, but offensively, but also not just X's and O's, but I think culturally, I think he's solid. And JJ McCarthy comes from a well-respected his background in terms of where he's learned from, where he's grown as a quarterback. He did have a chance to kind of get a full offseason now that he had that under his belt. And I think that the game that he plays and the tools that he brought to the NFL, I actually really like this fit for him in Minnesota. And I think that I think there's a very good chance that a lot of the improvements that you saw in Sam Darnold's game this year, I think there's a really good chance you could see very similar, not necessarily the similar improvements, but similar in the style of where he can improve for JJ McCarthy. I'm actually really looking forward to seeing him this year.
I'm excited. I mean, it's going to be important to see kind of what happens in the first month, but go ahead.
Yeah. Well, and I'm not saying he won't be good. It's just I just don't know because it's such a pass-heavy offense, and we've never seen JJ McCarthy in a even remotely pass-heavy offense. So,
I got you.
Yeah. So I mean, it could work. I'm not saying it can't work. Like it definitely could. I just
I
don't
know.
know.
I'm just.
But yeah.
I don't know. I guess I just have more of an not just an optimism, but like if I were asked, betting, positively or negatively on him this season and in Minnesota, I'm betting positively. I think that there's a good chance that Bo Nix, right behind Bo Nix as a quarterback fit, I think there's a really good chance that JJ McCarthy is in the best possible position he could be.
Yeah. Adam, what about the Packers? Go ahead on that.
So I hate to do this to you guys. Unfortunately, I got a dip.
Oh, okay. No worries. No worries.
I enjoy being on. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thanks, Adam. Thank you so much.
Adam, don't leave.
Sorry.
All right, Brandon. How about you get us started on the Green Bay Packers?
Oh, another green team for me to talk about.
Oh boy.
Oh, interesting.
He says as Adam leaves.
Yeah,
yes, of course.
That's part of the reason why I was saying it. And a team that shall not be mentioned beat last year on the road to the Super Bowl. But
I mean, there were a lot of those, so
yeah, that's why. Hey, there's only a couple of them we can beat. But yeah, Green Bay is a very interesting team to me this year because I mean, you look at the Lions and you know what they are offensively. You look at the Vikings, and they have some changes. Like we said, JJ is our X factor. But other than that, things kind of remain unchanged. It's just what do they have at quarterback? Then you get to the Packers, And I mean, it's really tough because on paper, Jordan Love is a really good quarterback, and when you look at him play, you can see that his receiving core does him no favors. It's so tough to have a good quarterback like that and just not have the guys capable of catching a cold standing naked outside the middle of winter. It's really
what an
tough.
analogy.
Yeah.
Hey, it is Green Bay. It's always cold there.
Like, it's another thing too. Like,
Except for right now.
Now, Josh Jacobs was great last year too. I mean, they're going to have to rely on him, just like they did last year. But I mean, look at the wide receiver core. It's there's nothing there. I mean, the couple guys that we know their names, but are they great? No. Like, hell, didn't I even say during draft week or during the draft night, I said, well, I bet you Green Bay probably, if the Chargers didn't take Matthew Golden, it'd probably be Green Bay because Green Bay needs a receiver, and they took Matthew Golden. So
they got a brutal schedule too.
Yeah, like I can't look at them. It is so hard for me to see Green Bay as like a true contender. Like in the NFC, just because like Patrick Mahomes can make it work without a receiving core. Josh Allen has made it work largely in his career without much of a receiving core. But Jordan Love's been the one guy where it's like he doesn't have the receivers, but they're not catching anything. Like, I think they have one of the worst drop rates in the NFL, if I'm not mistaken. Last year they dropped a lot of passes. Really, the last 2 years or so, they've dropped a lot of passes. Losing Alexander hurts, even though he wasn't healthy. I still think it hurts. It's still not going to help. I still love Xavier McKinney. I still, I like Bullard. I like, Corey Ballantyne's not great, but I don't think he's terrible. Quay Walker's good. Isaiah Simmons, good. McDuffie, good. There's guys on the defense, especially in the back half, that I really like a lot. I don't look at, the defensive line to me is not great. Kenny Clark is good. Rashawn Gary, Lucas Van Ness, but that's kind of it. But the rest of the depth around them and the guys that are on that line with them aren't that good, or we just don't know enough about them. Like to me, Green Bay is the biggest. Like, I hesitate to call them mid. They're not a mid team, like in terms of their record and how they play, but in terms of their roster, it's a mid roster. It really is. And I look at it. It's just a lot of guys that can have a big game or two, but not guys that are consistently good. So it's really tough to look at what they've got. And Jordan Love needs some sort of help. Josh Jacobs can't put the team on his back like he did a lot of last year. It's hard to really pick an X factor just because there's not a lot I really like here. But if there's anything, I guess I'm gonna go with the X factor being the obvious guy. You know what? I'm gonna say it's Matthew Golden. There's a reason why.
Damn it! I wanted him. God damn it!
But you know why? You can still take him. But they hadn't picked a wide receiver in the first round in God knows how long. It was 20 years or something like that, 25 years.
22, I think. Yeah,
it was something like that, right? They hadn't done it. There's a reason why they looked at him and said, "Okay, he's on the board. We're taking him, and we're taking him for first round." They believe that he can be what Jordan Love needs. So, there's this guy was, an all Big 12 guy. Second team, but all Big 12 in 2023. He's got, some flash. He's pretty speedy. He's just got some things that the other Packers receivers don't have. The other Packers receivers are not that fast. They're not really great at one particular thing. Matthew Golden seems like he can be really just the next factor to me, because they just need somebody that can catch the ball consistently and that can really, just take over a game, because honestly, offensively, they just don't have anybody outside of Love and Jacobs that can do that. So it's really tough. Because I think their defense has a few solid pieces, and I think they're all really good. They're all all Pro Bowl type players. But Matthew Golden, to me, even in college last year, he almost had 1,000 yards. 17 yards per reception. So he's gonna really stretch the field, and he can do so. And they've just really been missing that a lot, and especially because Green Bay does like to take their shot plays over time. I've noticed that. Especially last year down the stretch, I noticed that. They were looking for Christian Watson down the field, but he's not anything special. Dontavian Wicks, nothing special. Reed, nothing special. So if there's anybody that's going to have to really take a load off of Jordan Love's shoulders to be Superman, we talk about Josh Allen having to play hero ball, it feels like Jordan Love does that a lot, and we don't talk about it because he really does have to. So I really believe in my heart that X factor is Matthew Golden. There's a reason why they haven't taken a wide receiver in that long in the first round, and now they have one. So they really have high stock on him. So I wouldn't be surprised if he gets targets early and often. He's already the number one in this offense because, it's a first-round guy. So he's going to get his chances, his opportunities, and Jordan Love will get him the ball. Jordan Love's not a bad quarterback. Overrated, I think, a little bit, but not a bad quarterback. So I definitely think that's the X factor on that offense, and really the team at this point is right now coming into the season.
Yeah, same with me with Golden. They need a receiver. That's just factual. They need someone to get Love the ball. And Golden during camp has been good. They're still trying to figure out their receivers. I remember, what was it? The coaching staff said, "Oh, we don't need a number one." No, you do need a number one. You can't just say that you don't need a number one. You need one, and they admitted it by taking Golden. So I'll stick with him here as well. Shane, who are you taking?
Yeah. I think I'm also going to go with Golden because, with Green Bay, I think this is Green Bay's tough because it's a place where you have to build your team entirely through the draft for the most part. The fact that they got Josh Jacobs last year as a free agent was pretty insane. That never happens there. Just because Green Bay, it's a small town in Wisconsin of 100,000 people. 25-year-old guys don't want to go and live there. So seriously, that's the thing. If they're a free agent, they can choose where they want to go, and they have offers from, let's say, Miami and Green Bay. Where do you think the average 25-year-old is going to choose to live? Miami. Okay. Anyways, so it definitely limits them a bit. Thankfully for them, they're very good at drafting. But still, it gives you some limitations because you can't, the draft is it's good to build in the draft, but for the future, but you can't bring in those couple of guys that you just need right now to get you over the edge. And that's, we're seeing the effects of that here. And, but let's see. I think, Jordan Love, he had a very promising, year one. And I think he got a lot better as the season went on last year, but, he had that leg injury in week one, and I think they definitely rushed him back from that.
Mm-hmm.
Or he rushed himself back, whatever it was.
He was hurt the entire year. He just wasn't himself at all.
Yeah. So hopefully he's better now, and things are different because I think this is a good offensive line. Josh Jacobs is a probably top 5 back in the league. The defense is solid. The secondaries is really good. I mean, guys like Xavier McKinney, stud. And of course you have like Kenny Clark and Rashawn Gary, all those sorts of guys. And I think just having that consistent target for Jordan Love is going to be huge. Assuming it all pans out, obviously, but and Matt LaFleur is I would argue he's a top 5 coach in the league. I've been very impressed with what he's been able to do with, not as quite as talented of a roster as some other guys. So, we'll see. But I think, what's their over/under before I forget?
Their over/under is
9.5. No.
Yeah, I think it's 9.5. Yeah, 9.5.
That's what I figured.
Yeah, I think 10 is about fair. Scoop, what about you?
10.5.
Well, 9.5. We're saying they probably get 10 wins.
Yeah. Well, I agree with the perception from Brandon that the roster itself is fairly mid. And with that and the schedule that I'm looking at, and it's one of the harder schedules in the NFL this year. To me, that's just a combination of, especially if you get one injury, which unfortunately the odds are just it happens more likely than not. I'm taking the under on that.
Okay, who's your X factor for the Packers? Are you taking Matthew Golden as well?
Since multiple people did, I will switch it up a little bit. Most of the stuff that I saw that people that were looking at where they could potentially have some potential flaws were either on the D line or at the cornerback position, and obviously that D line kind of floats in from the edges. I know the name Lucas Van Ness was brought up, and a lot of people are pretty high on Rashawn Gary. I'm going to go with another one of their guys, and I apologize if I struggle with pronouncing this. I'm going to go with their defensive end, JJ Enagbari. I hope I pronounced that correctly. But kind of that second guy on the depth chart at defensive end, because I trust Gary to knock it down, but he's going to need his second in command. He's going to need his Robin to his Batman to come in and help hold it down for him, like you guys talked about a little while ago when you couldn't hear me with the Mason Grahams of the world against the Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
Okay, the Bears. Yeah, they dominated in a preseason game. Great. Everyone's gonna hype up Caleb Williams as always. I mean, I love the receiving core. I think they did a fantastic job getting the guys that they needed to, and I mean, the offense is great. I'm gonna look at their depth chart really quick here just to confirm everything. But I mean, as a whole, I still don't have that much confidence in this team. I don't, because I don't think. Do any of you guys have confidence in Caleb this year? At all?
I mean, more than last year, just because of the guy in charge. But
yeah,
but I don't know. I mean, the Bears, the offensive line definitely upgraded. There's no doubt about that.
Drew Dahlman, that pickup was huge.
Yeah, it won, and Joe Tooney. I mean, he's a top 3 or 4 guard in the league, so that's huge. But But like overall, I mean, this roster's not that great.
The defense,
I mean,
I'm looking at this defense. I'm not a huge fan of this defense. It's fine.
No,
I mean,
I think
this feels
they're
more
good
like a
at-
fantasy team than anything, as we talked about even with the Bengals. So
Yeah, I think they're good at corner. I think Brisker's a decent safety. Other than that,
Don't they still got Kevin Byard?
Oh yeah,
Byard.
Kevin Byard.
yeah,
it's still
but
Byard too.
he's kind of washed, I think.
He's
Yeah.
not the same player he once was.
The same with, like T.J. Edwards, Tremaine Edmonds. He was great a couple years
This
ago.
is
not so
another
much
team that
anymore.
this is another team that I'm looking at, and there's so many former Eagles on here.
There are, yeah.
That
Yeah,
guy
the pipeline between Philly and Chicago is kind of deep.
Yeah, I mean, I think this roster, like 3 years ago, would have been insane.
yeah, that's how I
when
feel.
these guys were still in their prime.
Which tracks
But-
that tracks for the Chicago Bears.
Yeah,
Yes, it does.
Yeah, exactly. But right now, yeah. And just the biggest thing really is Caleb Williams, because I mean, we were talking about it on the show last year. I never understood the hype with him in USC. And I still don't get it. I think, he kind of tries to play his own style of hero ball or whatever when he doesn't necessarily have to. And that's great for college, especially when you're in the Pac-12 with crappy defenses. But this is not the Pac-12. This is the National Football League. So,
Yep.
And I guess the good thing for him is his offense is going to be completely different this year. Last year with Shane Waldron, they ran, it was kind of I guess like a West Coast sort of, finesse run, which
Gross.
I mean, that's, well, not gross, but like, it's like a very bad version of that.
Yeah. That's what I
whereas,
mean by gross. It was yikes.
yeah, which I don't know how that guy, Shane Waldron, their offensive coordinator last year, I don't know how he got another offensive coordinator job after his stint in Seattle, but whatever. That's the Bears for you. So, now though, he's going to have much more of a, vertical down the field kind of power attack, which is a lot closer to like the Lincoln Riley USC system that he ran, where he was more successful. But again, that was college. It's different now. So, will it work? I don't know. Ben Johnson is very used to guys like Jared Goff, who are very smart, accurate quarterbacks who go through their reads and make good decisions with the football. That's not Caleb. Caleb is very impulsive. He's, likes to take shots down the field. Very sporadic. And we've heard all these stories coming out of training camp of Ben Johnson taking Caleb off the field at practice and just being all pissed at him, which I think is great. Like, it's in a way, it's good for the guy's development because I think he has some attitude problems, Caleb. And I just think it's telling when anytime Ben Johnson, the Bears' new head coach, is speaking to the media about the quarterbacks, he's always criticizing Caleb. But then when he's talking about Tyson Bagent, their backup, he's like, oh, he's great. Great kid. Really understanding it. Coming along well. I don't know if you guys have noticed that. But
That's fascinating.
to me, that's kind of not that he's trying to say Tyson Bagent is better than Caleb Williams, but to me, I think it's a little bit of a message of like, hey, Caleb, get your shit together. Like, come on, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think Ben Johnson will work as the head coach here. It's first time head coach, so you never know. It's always a gamble. But he's so smart schematically, and I think he has a good sense of culture and accountability, stuff like that. So I do feel like he will work, but you never know. But all that to say, I could very easily see Caleb Williams not being the quarterback next year for the Bears if things don't go well, because Ben Johnson definitely has a longer leash right now than Caleb does. So
Yeah. Are you taking Caleb as your X Factor?
oh boy, I guess I am. No, actually, no. I'm gonna. Well, yeah. Because okay. Here's the thing: we know what more or less, how the rest of the team's gonna be. It's just, can Caleb put it together and make him at least competent? My guess is probably not. I don't think it's a good match, but I think Ben Johnson's just going to get tired of Caleb's diva shit and just be done with him, you know. But personally, we'll see.
Yeah.
He can, maybe he'll work out and maybe he won't, and then they'll cut him and he can go get his nails done with Jackson Mahomes, you know.
I was wondering who was going to say that.
Oh my God. Scoop, who's your X Factor for Chicago?
So I'm also not any sort of a Caleb Williams fan. I said last year that I would rather a team at number 1 overall take Jaden Daniels. I don't remember where I had him on my quarterback rankings that year, but it wasn't first and it wasn't second. And great, the team around him is better, but I heard people, I don't remember exactly who they were credited as being, whether they were scouts or whoever, but I saw quotes recently from people who were in the NFL saying, he was so easy to play against or to scheme against. He held the ball for too long. All these different things that, I'm not convinced that those things improve drastically in one offseason, if they improve at all. And again, yeah, I know that we believe that his coaching staff is better this year, but it is a new coaching staff, and he was struggling to learn the first coaching staff he was with, and the first scheming that he was with, and now he has to do it all over again. And just because we think that they're better coaches and they think that it's a better system and whatever and better personnel, that doesn't mean that somebody who already has questions about his ability to learn and develop and process and all the process, that was the word I was trying to think of, doesn't necessarily mean automatically that we're going to see a massive jump from him. So with that being said, no, he's not my pick. But a lot of times, what do we see with a young quarterback when they're struggling? The run game is often leaned on more. With that, giving my former favorite Eagle and my former Detroit Lion in his own right, Mr. DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, I still like him a lot. Brandon, who are you taking?
Yeah, I was going to say, and for those that don't know, that haven't been paying attention to Bears football, which I don't blame you if you haven't missed much, but DeAndre Swift is one of the most underrated running backs in the NFL, period. They just no, for some reason, every team he's been on does not know how to use him correctly. I don't understand why. But any team that employs Tyreek Stevenson is funny to me. After what he managed to do last year, I would take him as the X factor just for shits and giggles. But honestly, Caleb Williams towards the end of his college career and really last year was running for his life back there. A lot of it was his own fault, but a lot of it was just not having an offensive line. And I don't know. I mean, we've mentioned him plenty of times, but Drew Dahlman, to me, has to be the X factor. You know, your offensive line, like we're saying, it's not the best, but they went out and they upgraded it for a reason. They want to protect, you know, their investment in Caleb Williams. And I think that, you know, you're bringing him in from a place, you know, like Atlanta, where, you know, he had a great start to the career. I mean, sure, no All-Pros, no Pro Bowls, but people that know ball know how good he was. And I mean, if you're really, you know, we always talk about, let's say, like, success starts in the trenches, right? That's clearly what the Bears think too. So, you know, you're not changing anything like quarterback wise. You still believe in Caleb Williams. You're not changing much with your wide receivers. You know, you're still hoping that, you know, DJ Moore and Roman Dunze and company, like, those are your guys. You know, defensively, really not much has changed. At least not that I see on the roster. But so really, by process of elimination, to me, it's got to be Drew Dahlman. You're bringing him in there to protect your investment, and you're bringing him in there because you know the kind of caliber player that he is. And it's not just protecting Caleb Williams. It's opening things up for DeAndre Swift to run through. You know, find holes. You know, create holes for him to run through. You know, give them an extra time or give Caleb an extra beat to make a throw. That makes all the difference in the world. So it all starts in the trenches. So to me, it's going to all start with him. You know, he was kind of like the real big piece that when he got, you know, when he got there, when we got the news that he was going to be in Chicago, that was, like, you know, we also the same thing, like, wow, that's huge for the Bears. Like, we knew him at that time how important that was. So I can't think of another X factor, you know, because it should be Caleb Williams, but to me, it's like it's going to start in the trenches, and if you're going to give him any chance to be an X factor, it's going to have to start with Drew Dahlman. So that's where I stand with that.
Yeah, I'm going to go Luther Burton, actually. I'm excited about him. I'm excited about this receiving core. It's young. It's really talented. It's just up to Caleb and the offensive line to give this receiving core good opportunity. And then you got Colston Loveland there. You got Cole Kmet. There's a bunch of options. It's just, can they use it effectively, which remains to be seen depending on how Caleb does, especially in the first month and a half of the year. All right, our movie this week was Dunkirk, our final Christopher Nolan movie before the offseason. Shane, what was your thoughts on the Dunkirk rewatch?
Wait, did Scoop have another thought?
Do you have another thought on it? Please go ahead on the Bears.
It's not another thought. It's just I'm respectfully I'm not going to be a part of this segment, so I'm going to sign off for tonight.
All right, no worries.
But I just wanted to say
man.
thank y'all very much. It was great to be a lot of good conversation. Looking forward to the next couple of divisions.
Oh, hell yeah. We're doing the West next week, aren't we? That's going to be fun.
Yeah, that's actually going to be fun.
Yeah.
That is going to be fun as heck. All right, thanks for joining us, bro.
Thanks for having me on, y'all. Have a good night. God bless y'all.
See you. And then there were three.
Yes, and then there were three. All right, Shane, start us off with Dunkirk.
Dunkirk, yeah. So this was 2017 Christopher Nolan World War II movie. And this, I don't know if I've ever told you about this, Robert, but I remember when I first saw this, where was I? I was at a Chinese restaurant with
What? What?
Just hold on.
Wait. What?
I was at a Chinese restaurant with my sister, and two of her friends worked there at the time. And so they said, "Oh, after our shift, we're going to go see Dunkirk. You should come with us." And then she was like, "Okay." She had no idea what it was. And And I was like, what did I say? Oh no! And then her friend, says to me, "Oh Shane, you should come too," because they knew me, whatever. They were chill about it, and I was like, "Yeah, Nolan movie, sure." Um, but everybody, all of her friends, were thinking it was going to be like this action-packed, shoot 'em up, bang bang type of movie.
What?
And I was just like sitting there going, haha, no, it's not. But anyways, and so we went and saw it, and seeing a movie in the theater with my sister is always a really funny experience because she asks me a million questions throughout the movie. Like,
Oh my god.
like she'll like, is he secretly a bad guy? I'm like, I don't know. I haven't seen this movie either. Like,
Don't ask me.
like, let me tell you in a few minutes when we find out. So anyway, but it's funny. And so yeah, so this movie, I think by Nolan standards, this movie is just okay. And overall decent, aside from Nolan standards. I think, well, let me start with what I like. For starters,
Harry
cinematography. No.
Damn
the cinematography and just the visual scope and I feel like the way that the war is captured through the camera is quite good. It's very intense and dramatic, and and I think we don't always get that in war movies where it feels like the camera kind of puts you there in it. And that's definitely the case here. So I really liked that. I also liked that there wasn't a ton of dialogue in the movie. That was something that I noticed, I think, on my second watch through. Because, when you think about it, in a war, when you're in combat and whatever else is going on, you're not really talking all that much because, A, it's too loud, and B, you're just exhausted and you don't want to talk, so I think it was cool just to let kind of the characters' emotions drive the story as opposed to spoken word. And that's not the case for every story, but I think for a story like this, it works well. I think it's quite effective. And I think there's some good performances from the actors. And that's what I think. Those are the things that Christopher Nolan does really well: is the visuals and getting the best possible performance out of his cast. The problem is he also likes to tell stories in a very non-linear way.
This is
which I cannot
very
stand.
linear.
Yes, and it does not need to be. For me, it made what was an otherwise kind of, simple story very complicated.
Yeah.
Which it did not need to be. I mean, it's a war story. It's emotional. It's heavy. You don't need to do this whole back and forth, okay, now we're in this plot. And then, it's like, okay, just, and the other thing is, I just don't think it's very well. In general, I just don't think it's very well written. I mean, the characters are paper thin. There's not really a clear protagonist figure. And I think I think this is what Nolan has lacked in his movies since his brother Jonathan Nolan stopped writing with him. And we talked about that a little bit last week, but I think those two both really made their best work together. And apart, I mean, they still do good stuff, but it's just not, it doesn't, Chris's stuff doesn't have the emotional character depth that it used to, whereas Jonathan's stuff now doesn't have like the really intimate acting performances and the just like the visual grandiose that Chris has, right? I just think that they complemented each other so well in that regard. And, because all three of Nolan's films ever since Jonathan started doing his own stuff, I don't really think any of the three of them have been very well written. So, and I know that I know a lot of people would argue with me on that, but that's just my own feeling about it anyways. So to me, I think, like the visuals and the just kind of like the gritty war feeling and the good acting and everything combined with just sort of the lack of character development and just the weird timeline stuff. For me, it averages out to like probably a B minus, maybe a C plus, kind of in there. Yeah, and then what else was I gonna say? That's it for now.
What's your rating? What's your rating?
I just said.
You did.
Pay attention, Robert.
I missed it. I'm looking up Harry Styles movies for my point.
Oh God.
Like B minus, C plus, kind of in there.
Okay. I'm sorry. The Harry Styles is a very bizarre movie set that I want to discuss.
Yeah,
It's
I
really
could not
bad.
take his character seriously because I was like, that's the pretty boy from One Direction. Why is he a
Yeah.
soldier or in a war movie? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. This filmography is so shit. I'm sorry, it blinded me. It's so bad. Brandon, please go ahead.
Yeah, this is like this movie is like the granddaddy of like lens flares. It feels like.
Over J.J. Abrams' Star Wars?
J.J.
Abrams anything.
True.
Yeah, I mean this is definitely up there. I mean, there's just what a movie that like a World War II movie does not have to be told in a way that kind of starts somewhere, comes and it goes all the way off in a different direction and comes back around somehow, but kind of like loosely ties things together. Like this. Like then that I was glad that you said it, Shane. It was like the whole non-linear thing. It's like when you're telling a World War II story, it should be straight through, like because it's like these things kind of they actually happened. I mean, this particular story, there's a lot of kind of liberties I hear, but most World War II movies, I should say most, they're all based on a real event. When you base something on a real event, I don't think you can tell that story by telling it in a non-linear way. And it's definitely tough with this movie because about 20 minutes in, I honestly lost the plot. I was like,
because there isn't one.
Like you know what I mean when I say that though. I found myself like understanding kind of what was happening the first 15, 20 minutes, and then right as it like this Nolan movie feels like it spreads itself too thin. I've said that phrase before, but this really does feel like this movie. It's like there's just too many. There's like just too many, I guess, characters. Hold on, my computer's dying. I gotta plug it in. There's too many. There's definitely too many characters for me to like, and they're not fully, fleshed out too. So it's really tough to watch a movie where it's like you can't really look at any one particular character and like identify with them. Like when we did like 1917, that made sense. That one took you on a journey and it took you on a linear story that it made sense and you can identify with the character and it's still based real war story. This
And you felt like you were with them on the journey.
yeah.
Oh,
This
100%.
like this feels like you're just watching this almost feels like me flipping through pages of my history textbook and just seeing images of like an event that occurred during the war and then next page different event, next page different. Like there was too much of that in the movie where I feel like it also didn't stay too long. I mean it wasn't meant to. But when you have so many characters and so many events going on literally at the same time that this whole story is playing out, this movie's playing out, it's almost not going to work because it feels like everything is too jarring. So, like it's, and the thing is that there were certain moments in the movie, especially towards the end of the movie, where once again, I know I love how also once again there's a time element in this movie. Like everybody's keeping track of time in this, like the two fighter pilots are keeping track of their fuel. It's like you can see that it constantly shows what time of day it is, whatever it is.
Specifically showing a watch for a good chunk of the air scene.
For a good chunk of the air scenes, showing the watch, and then even the soldier's asking, "Hey, what time is it?" Or "Hey, how much time until this happens? How much time until that happens?" Like, no one has this obsession with time, but it's really tough to kind of focus on the movie when it feels like you just have too many things going on at once. It's just plain and simple. And the cast is great. Like I think seeing how critics rated this, I will definitely say that this, without a doubt, this movie's overrated. And I'm not saying that in in a derogatory way, but that it is definitely overrated. Like I can think of other war movies and war stories that I've either listened to or watched, whatever it is, than this. But I can't get over seeing Harry Styles pop up on my screen. I forgot that he was in this movie because I remember when the trailer had come out and things like that. I heard that he was in this movie, but I just forgot.
I'm sorry, Shane. I couldn't focus because literally I'm looking at his filmography and I'm like, dude, this is ass. Sorry, Brandon, but it's ass. Other than this movie,
I can't. I looked at it on my screen. I'm like, oh, Harry Styles in World War II. I'm like, for the most part, not all of them, but for the most part, a lot of the actors I didn't recognize. Of course, Cillian Murphy, Tom Hardy, Kenneth Branagh, all those guys,
but they're actually actors.
But they're actually actors. I looked at them. I'm like, okay, they're playing a part. I can see them in that part. I look at Harry Styles playing just pretty much a random soldier, and I'm like, so. What is this? What is this supposed to be here?
It's actually distracting.
Because
kind of weirdly, I'm distracted looking at his filmography. This is how bad he is at acting.
Certain people that are in different industries, it's they can go into acting, and some of them can be decent at it, but a lot of them just aren't. But you can't tell such a grisly you can't have just such a grisly war movie and oh look, Harry Styles, boy band, that doesn't make any sense to me. It just doesn't. So and I'm sure it didn't make a lot of sense to people watching the movie, I guess, at the time either. But I can't wrap my head around. There's certain moments in this movie that I really liked. Obviously, when certain characters are expressing their emotions through the way they look, and I love how we've done movies in the past where I've even said the kind of the best things are left unsaid, or certain ways you convey emotion, just tell things without having to say anything. So I love movies that do that, and I love that this movie did that. But there were certain points where I'm like, I found myself getting like, even though like this is going to sound like a contradiction, but even though a lot of scenes to me like flipping back and forth between different pieces of action in this non-linear story, that were going on at pretty much at the same time, it's just like I found myself bored by it. There was no scene where the only scenes I really cared about, I guess, were the dogfighting scenes. The fighter pilots. Like those are the only scenes I found myself really like caring about. The other scenes kind of just bored me. Like it was like a nothing burger. Like where I'm just like, okay, I don't feel any attachment to these characters. I don't feel anything here. Like it, like there's different ways to tell a movie without talking and to tell a story. Like, I'm not a big fan of it, but I think like when you have a movie that kind of says a lot with saying nothing, like The Revenant is a good one at doing that.
Yeah,
like,
that's a good example. Yeah,
like that one I can watch, no problem. It tells you a lot without getting too carried away. I feel like Nolan's goals for this and what he wanted to do was like a challenge, like it was lofty, and I just feel like it feels like this is one of the movies that he just couldn't pull it off. Like where it's like, he kind of did what he could with what he wanted to do, but it kind of just feels like it feels almost a little bit unfinished for him too. And I don't know why.
Well, I have two thoughts about all that.
Please go.
First of all, I think this movie... the first thing I thought walking out of the theater, I was like, that felt like if Rogue One, the Star Wars movie, was a World War II film told in a non-linear fashion.
That's really funny because that's basically what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. But which is just, that's kind of a more random thing. But
Brandon, really quick.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. Go ahead, Shane. Finish up. My bad.
Well, I was just gonna say, because you said it felt like he was trying something and just didn't quite stick the landing, and I agree because, and this, we see a lot of directors do things like this where Nolan at that point in his career, he just came off of Batman, Inception, Interstellar, right? As a film society, whatever you want to call us, moviegoers, I feel like kind of put him in this box of like the Batman and sci-fi guy.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And he wanted to be like, no, I can do other stuff. Here's a World War II historical drama. And tried to, do all the, and it just didn't work. I mean, we see that a lot. I think, sorry, that was a weird noise in my room.
We're all losing it.
I mean, the Russo brothers, look at them. They kind of got boxed in as the Avengers directors and the guys that made the show Community. And so then they're like, no,
Avengers we can again.
Right, but then they're like, no, we can make serious stuff, and then they tried Cherry, and
I like Cherry. I'm one of the few people that actually likes that movie.
You're the only person who says that.
That's why I said I'm the only person who actually likes that movie.
Oh yeah. But then they went back to Extraction and The Gray Man and all these action stuff that's turned out way better for them. So,
well, Extraction they produced great, man. They get good reviews. Electric State was awful. So yeah.
Right, but I mean, there was Joe Russo did write Extraction, but anyways, But my point is, like, a lot of times filmmakers get put in a box, right, and then they will try to break out of it by doing something else, and it usually fails. Not always, but usually there are some exceptions. I mean, Adam Sandler doing Uncut Gems proved that he is a dramatic actor, not just a comedic guy. But for the most part, it's like, yeah, stay in your lane.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
Like, but the thing is, like, but you know what else too? It's like for directors, I feel like it's like, or even just anybody in the entertainment industry, even for music artists, it's the same thing where it's like everybody's always going to know you for just like a specific thing, but it's like it's also tough because they want to break free from like whatever mold they're in. And I get that, but I think the best way to do it, and even like we see like in the music industry, the best way to break away from doing something that you're known for doing is to gradually ease out of it and not have a stark contrast between what you just did and what you're doing next.
Yeah.
And so when you've got a guy that's primarily known for that sci-fi kind of stuff, like Nolan is, or like the sci-fi fantasy action kind of stuff rolled into one thing here,
time dilation.
like a lot of psychological stuff, like stuff like that. When you go from that to a straight up realistic, realism based, World War II historical stuff, it's like it is a complete shift. And it's like the best thing, like you have to know what you're good at and try something different, but like start moving towards what you want to start trying to do, but know what you're good at so you have a good foundation to jump from. So like, if you want to do like a sci-fi movie, you don't jump from sci-fi into romance. Like
right.
You would go from like sci-fi to like something like a psychological thriller, and then keep going. So it's like it's to me that's the best way of doing it. Like that's why just with this it just misses the mark. It's too jarring. It's too much like he's too much like, especially with this one, like a lot of his movies make you think about what's happening, but you can't make someone think about what's happening when they know it's a World War II movie. And it's based in historical facts. It's like then you're just confusing the viewer. So like, or the casual viewer at least. Like even for us. So it's like, critics might call it, because I saw critics were saying it was one of the greatest war movies ever, and I'm like, I don't know about that. I don't think so at all.
No.
So like,
it's not even in my top 10.
Yeah, I don't think it's bad, but it's like this isn't 1917. This isn't Saving Private Ryan.
We're doing Hacksaw Ridge this season.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
so,
like,
I mean.
Like, this isn't those. So
it's not
I'm
Black
like.
Hawk Down.
Oh, it's such a good movie. I would love
Hurt Locker.
That movie. Oh, it's.
Apocalypse Now.
Yeah,
I mean, the list goes on. Thin Red Line.
Like, it's like. There's so many you could give before you even come to this movie, and it's like. I don't hate it, but this is not a movie that I would like, oh yeah, let me watch it one or two more times to get a good feel for it. Like this is why I'm like, nah, I'm not watching this again. Like I know what this is, I'm not watching it again. Like I'm okay. Like I just wish I really hope that when it comes to war movies like Christopher Nolan, it's quite like Shane was saying, just stay in your lane. Do what you know how to do, and don't like if you're gonna stray far from it, like he's a guy that always has a big vision, grand goals, but you got to know what you're best at and what you're not. And unfortunately, because of how this movie panned out and what critics said, and it's like he's not going to know that we're saying how we feel about this movie, but it's definitely something where you kind of just have to take the best of what you're good at and mix it with maybe some of the things that you want to accomplish and do it that way, and it would be better received that way, at least for the casual viewer. Because like I was saying, like 20 minutes into this I was lost. I was like, well, not lost, but I was like, I'm trying to keep up with all the different things that are going on between all the different scenes, and I'm like, I'm trying to connect the dots in my head, and like I shouldn't have to do this much thinking in a World War II movie.
Yeah.
Like yeah.
Well, Brandon, you had a question in the chat about the end of this movie. Do you want to raise it on the podcast? Because I feel like it is an important question.
It's just interesting because I forget. I'm pretty sure it was a real quote from Winston Churchill, and I believe it was talking about the war at that time, and it was something. I'm just paraphrasing, but he said that in the quote. That the quote unquote new world, because it's capitalized, that the new world would come and basically rescue them or save them, from or save the old world. I guess before it's too late, or whatever the thing I actually said was, but. And when I heard that quote in the movie, because I don't remember if I ever heard it in history class. I mean, I loved history, but I don't remember if I ever heard it. But all I could think about was saying that quote, and at that time in the war, because the Allied forces had to retreat. But I don't believe America was involved in the war at that point just yet.
No.
And to me, when Churchill was saying the New World, technically that's what our side of the world was known as at the time. So I'm thinking that that's a direct reference to like the U.S. coming and ending World War II.
Yeah, that's what it says on Google. Is like until in God's good time, the new world with all its power and might steps forth to the rescue and the liberation of the old. So widely interpreted as a reference of the U.S. and other nations in the Americas joining the war. So they kind of knew, I think, that was coming by that point as well.
Because this movie is set in, what is it, June 1940?
I believe.
Roughly?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because the U.S. joined the war in December 41. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, about a year and a half after this.
Okay, Harry Styles. Oh, Jesus Christ, dude. Okay, okay, so here's the thing. He's not a good actor. He's just not. And it's not about this movie. It's about his other movies. By the way, Wikipedia, I have a gripe here. Can we not put the One Direction documentaries in his filmography? Can we stop doing that for singers? That's not a film. That's just please stop.
I think legally you have to though, because for union reasons, since they're in it, you have to list them.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. Eternals post-credit scene. Don't care. Movie sucks. Don't Worry, Darling had a bunch of very widely documented.
Women like that movie because of him in it and things like that. It had a big response from the female community, but I don't think it was anything.
But didn't like the movie itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus there was on-set conflicts and all this stuff. My Policeman is not very good. It has a 44% on Prime Video.
I've never even heard of that.
I've never seen it, but I just know it's not very good. I'm not going to see that or Don't Worry, Darling. Why are we giving... I mean, I guess it's fine because he didn't have a crazy role, but it's just again, as we said, it's distracting. I'm getting distracted looking at this filmography. Why? I just don't understand. So when I watch Dunkirk, I give it a 10 when I watch it, and then when I sit back, I'm like, I still give it a 7. I enjoy it. I like it. Yeah. I still love it. This is my second or third watch. I was in awe when I saw it the first time. It gets worse with every rewatch, I think.
That's why I'm not rewatching it.
Yeah, it definitely, I think, gets worse with every rewatch. It's a good movie. I like it for what it is, but I don't know. It's definitely one of the low points for Nolan, where it's I like the movie for what it is, but at the same time, it could have had more oomph, as you guys are saying. So I'm gonna give it a 7 and stop putting Harry Styles in movies. That's my review. Because oh my god, Brandon, what do you give it?
I can see the 7. I don't think it's an 8. I'm just gonna go right in the middle. I'm gonna say 7.5. I think I definitely don't hate it, but it's if I was to watch this again, that 7.5 would probably be a 6. And if I watch it again, it'd probably be a 5. And I'm okay.
It's not. It kind of it gets screwed after a few rewatches. We're doing Buffalo 66. Is this a football movie, Brandon, for next week, or sort of football like?
It has a couple references to the Bills in it, but put it this way: I won't spoil it of why I think it is. Technically, it's a football movie. It's not really on the surface, but when you realize kind of who the main character is and kind of what he goes through, you'll understand why I say it's a football movie. Because it really isn't. But I think this movie, first of all, is low budget, so don't look for no Christopher Nolan type stuff. But to me, when I first watched this, I was looking for something to watch when I first came across it on, I forget if it was Prime or on HBO Max.
It's on Prime, Tubi, and Pluto, and Fandango at home. So it's free on everything, pretty much.
It might have been on. It's been on Prime for a long time.
Yeah.
So, I think it's just one of those like evergreen like kind of movies that's always on Prime.
Yeah.
But Buffalo 66, and yes, it does have two members of the Addams family, two cast members of the Addams family in it. But it's just I think with this movie, where you guys are gonna probably like, is that it's more of an artsy film. Like don't expect like the best acting in the world either, but kind of like if you can kind of like appreciate kind of or understand what's kind of going on and what the guy that stars in it, I believe he's also the director. And so I love this movie. Like when I first watched it, I was like,
yeah, that is accurate.
Gallo,
Vincent Gallo.
Yeah, Gallo.
Yeah.
So with this movie, I'll just say that it's Vincent Gallo. I'll just say that it's actually it does have really good acting in it because actors. The script isn't the best, but it definitely. When I first watched it, I couldn't take my eyes off it. I'm like, this almost. I don't know if it feels like it's so bad that it's good, or that it's actually just really good, but just in a low budget way. Like it's a low budget, really good film.
Yeah.
So when you guys, Shane, you haven't watched it, have you?
I've not. I mean, I'm familiar with what it is, and but I've not actually watched it. No.
Yeah, I like this was just one thing I found late one night on Prime, and I was like, I wonder what this is about. So like, I was like, you know what? I'll watch it, and then I watched it, and I've watched it like 6 times since. I actually love this movie, so I think it's really good. I really, I like seeing a movie about like the trials and tribulations of somebody and what they go through to get to the other side. So it's definitely. I think it's worth the watch. I think the editing is cool. It's a way different. It's like an artsy kind of editing style. So I think you guys will think it's a little bit bizarre at first, but I think you guys will like it.
Yeah, I'm excited, and we're gonna do our music as well. We decided to do summer beats, so I'm very curious on how you guys approach that in comparison to
songs?
What I did.
What? Or how many? I mean, sorry, how many songs?
12.
Okay.
I don't know if I want to do a mixtape again, or if I want to do like just a straightforward like. I mean, if it's summer beats, it probably just going to be a mixtape thing.
Yeah, I what I did is I actually got some help from some of my friends because I was like, I don't know how to finish this because I didn't want to put like old EDM, so I got some assistance. But yeah, I liked what I did overall because I've been working.
I have 28 songs on my summer list right now. I got to cut it back.
Yeah, so I'm very curious what you guys are going to do, and that'll be it. Then we'll do the West Divisions, and we'll get ready for the season. Get a week break because college football's starting up, and get grinding. So for Shane, for Brandon, for Scoop, for Adam, we'll see you all next week.
See ya.
Peace.
Take care, everybody.
Woo.